In this video, I'm going to show you how to upload and organize your images in Tangora Manager. The scenario is that I have a group of photos here on my desktop, and the images in question are all photos that I want to be able to use to illustrate the text that I write on my site. My organizational goal with these images is twofold. First, I want them all in the same place so that I can find them easily when I want them in my solution. Secondly, I want to have them in the same dimensions, and naturally the dimension should also be appropriate for their use in my body text column. We'll achieve both goals by creating a category, so this is what I'll show you first. As we can see on screen, I'm in my image archive, and I can create a category by going into the category section, where we already have some example categories created. I could use the expand and collapse buttons to get an overview here. Note too that you could delete categories if you need to do that. And then we have a category here called Conference. And in my current example, I want to add a category as a subcategory of Conference. I'll hit the Create button, and then for my main category, I'll choose Conference. Choosing a main category is, of course, optional, but I'm demonstrating here that you can hierarchically organize the structure of your categories. Then I'm going to give my category a name. I'll call it Eye Candy. Then I have a point here called Image Editing. Now, if I want Tangora to do something with my images as they're being uploaded, it's here I do it. Otherwise, I'll just want to ensure that Tangora doesn't futz with my images, and I could just skip this setting. Provided that I do want Tangora to adjust my images for me, I have two choices. I could either choose User Define or Run Macro. Now, the Run Macro option allows you to apply a series of image manipulations, such as adjusting brightness, contrast, adding special effects such as drop shadows and such, that you may have recorded using Tangora's fantastic image editor tool, which we'll cover elsewhere. The user-defined option allows you simply to set a fixed width or height. You could also add a macro here at the same time, provided that the macro doesn't include operations which affects the dimension of your images. For now, we'll just disregard this option. But let's choose a fixed width of 300 pixels, which is a good largest size for an image that might be used in a column with some body text. I also have an option here to create a thumbnail. A thumbnail is simply a small version of the original that you can place as an alternative to the full-size image if it suits your needs. Although I don't really need a thumbnail in my current case, for the purposes of demonstration, I'm going to generate a thumbnail with a width of 100 pixels. I also want to mention, by the way here, that there are intermediate and advanced techniques that automatically generate multiple sizes of images, so you could have a master image with several size versions. So when I'm done defining my category, I'll just hit OK, and then I'll be back in my category overview. As we upload images to this category then, all the images are going to be saved at 300 pixels wide, no matter what the original size was. By the way, once you've set this size, as you begin uploading images to this category in your archive, the choice becomes locked as a measure to ensure that you don't inadvertently change the dimensions of an image already uploaded. But you will be able to unlock a category as long as you let the system know that you're aware of the implications. This means that if you decide later on that 250 pixels is a more appropriate size than 300, then you could easily adjust all the images to that size. However, if you decide that your images should be larger, then you can make the change to your category alright, but then you'd be well off to upload your images again, as you'd otherwise suffer a loss of quality by making the images larger. One last important aspect I'd like to mention is that although we have a hierarchy of categories, a subcategory does not inherit any of the attributes that its parent category may have. Okay, so you've just had a run-through of creating categories. And you've seen that we could use categories not only for organizing our images, but also for manipulating our images. Next, let's familiarize ourselves with the actual process of uploading images. When I'm ready to upload, I'll need to go back to the image overview, which I could do by using the breadcrumb navigation up here at the top. Now that I'm back in my image overview, I'll need to hit upload to get into the interface where I could upload my photos. The first thing I want to do is to select a target category for my upload, and then I want to select some images to upload using the select button. What happens now is that I get a pop-up window where I could browse the contents of my computer and other computers on my network. In fact, the window that is invoked here is actually provided by my operating system. I can select multiple images here, and once I've found the images that I want, I'll just hit open, and then we can see that they're in my queue. If I wanted to select some more images, perhaps I have images that are lying in different folders on my computer, then I could hit select again and repeat the previous operation. But otherwise I could just hit upload. And now we can see an upload status as my photos are being uploaded, and I get a message on screen that the upload is completed. Let's say I make a mistake and I forget to indicate which category I wanted to upload to, meaning that I wind up uploading my images without a category and thereby without resizing and without being able to use SmartView to locate this grouping of images. No problem. What I could do is I could upload them anew, this time remembering to choose a category. And what I also want to show you here is the dialog interface for name conflicts. I already have images up here with the same name in my solution, so I have to tell the system what to do. I could choose to upload and replace, which is the right choice for me here and now. And then I could also decide not to upload at all, that is to say just cancel. And finally, I could choose to upload and retain both files, allowing the system to add a number suffix to my image to differentiate the images. Note too that I could do this for all images in my queue, whereas otherwise I'd have to answer this question for each image being uploaded. And now I could use SmartView to find the images. And if I were to go into the properties of one of these images, we'll see that we have the full-size versions here at 300 pixels, as well as the thumbnail version at 100 pixels. So there you have it. Uploading and categorizing your images with Tangor's sophisticated and easy-to-use interface. We've just organized our images into categories, and we've seen that categories could be used not only for organizing your images, but also for editing our images. We've also touched upon Tangor's image editor tool. Image editor could be used image for image or for a whole category of images, and you definitely do well to learn more about the topic to get the full use of the power of categories. We've been working in our central image archive up to now, but the same workflow can actually be accessed while you're working in a module or in a layout or editing text on a page. This means that you always have access to upload and organize photos exactly when and where you need them. Thank you for watching.